Hey class, so this week's discussion post prompts us to discuss 3 case studies that we read in chapter 5 and identify a strength, uh, a protective factor, a risk, or an ACE, and one specific intervention for each child. So for Anthony, a strength would be that even though his mother and father are not together, they still play a very active role in his life. His father, James, still comes to do things with him, and especially since he's out of diapers, he does a lot more things with him. One risk factor or ACE would be physical punishment by the mother. She tends to spank him with a belt or any other objects that she can find. And intervention, I would say, would be family counseling as well as individual counseling, because it sounds like to me that due to the parents' rough, traumatic childhood and upbringing, that they are unintentionally passing that on to Anthony. So I think it would be good for family counseling as well as individual counseling. That way, everybody can deal with everything that they have going on. Um, Jasmine, strength would be her mother is a stable person in her life, even though her mother has issues of her own and is dealing with some things from, rough childhood growing up. She still has been a very stable person in her life. A risk factor, she has a few. A parent with substance abuse. Her father dealt with substance abuse issues as well as domestic violence and is now in prison. So he's incarcerated. So, um, intervention, the first thing automatically would be to find housing and shelter for the family, even if it was just in a shelter. Or I know there are a lot of places, especially in my area, that do immediate housing where even if they could just stay in a church and have a hot meal for a night, because her mother seems like she wants to do good for her. Maybe she needs some counseling as well. Um, and some counseling because it sounds like that Jasmine has some anxiety going on from all of the pressure that she holds from taking care of her entire family. Gabriella, one strength and protective factor that she has is her school. It stated that the school doesn't usually hold English learning students back, but because Gabriella was so close with her teacher and that was doing good for her, that they held her back, and sometimes that can be a good thing depending on the situation. Um, a score would be alcohol abuse by the father as well as sexual abuse by the father, inappropriate touching. Intervention would be just find resources for this particular situation. There are things out there that help immigrants, women. The Violence Against Women Act. I would also provide information on domestic violence, as well as other resources in the area, insurance, education, how to do things like that. Yeah, so that's all I have for today. Thanks.